Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host, Ahmad Nawaz. We did talk a lot about what we're going to be discussing in tonight's show. I told you it's going to be special, and we're going to be discussing something that really requires a lot of attention right now in society. We always talk about gender equity, gender balance should be there as well, but what most of us, fail to highlight is what the important role women are playing in all parts of society, especially now through business entrepreneurship, through sports, through healthcare, you name it. They're always there and they're making a mark for themselves as well. And tonight's show is going to focus on that exactly because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss, the avenues as well, and how we as men need to, get the advocacy going for them in business as well. We need to obviously play an important role in this as well because it's all about the balance at the end of the day, and it's all about giving them the boost that they need because they're equal contributors, or I personally think they're contributing more than us in society as well in the roles of mothers, sisters, daughters, wives, and especially, like I said, in business, in sports, so many avenues. You talk about healthcare, anywhere you go as well, and now definitely with leading roles in governments as well, so you cannot neglect that fact as well. We've been joined by a great panel in studios for tonight's show, and they're bringing a lot of experience and a lot of work that they're doing in each and every one of their fields as well. So we're going to be discussing all of that collectively, and of course, hitting those right notes where we need to get work going as well. What are we missing out? What more can we do? How all of you can be part of their initiatives as well, and obviously start your very own things at the same time as well to contribute to society as well. This fine lady has been all over social media. I think she is there once I posted that I'm doing a show with her, I got so many phone calls and text messages. I was surprised what kind of a big celebrity she is, and I'm sure she knows that, but she's really been tweeting a lot. She's on Facebook, on all other social media platforms as well. She's the founder and she is the CEO of Fem Games. She's none other than Miss Ebba Qureshi. Assalamu alaikum, good evening, how are you?
Assalam. I love the introduction, thank you.
It's great to have you.
I'm humbled. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you finally. We've been seeing you so much on social media. It was a real honor when I got to know you coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and I'm very grateful for you to take this gender equity theme on board and to speak about it because I think it's very important to me and it's very important to everyone.
Right, and this next gentleman with Ebba is also he's a CMO of Lift Pakistan and one other organization that he's going to be telling about everything, and he is also working in the fields that we talked about at the start as well, and he's going to be the advocate for the role of women in business entrepreneurship and through sports as well. He's none other than Mr. Asad. Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Feeling a bit terrified sitting in between two powerful
definitely,
women?
yes. I would have preferred to sit on the side, but happy to be here. I'm privileged.
A great cause,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely, and it's a cause that needs to be recognized.
Definitely. Now this next lady is a specialist when it comes to healthcare. She has obviously the head of an organization called BioClinica. I'll be learning about what it is, and she's none other than Ms. Fem Qureshi. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam, thank you very much.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Are you putting a lot of pressure on us, both of you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Terrified I am. I feel for you. Right, Ebba, I want to talk about your organization first of all. Tell me about Fem Games. Let's know what it is, the people out there who don't know about it. How did you start with this?
So I think if people are on social media, they'll know that I am a huge advocate for women in sports. And coming from a sports background, my husband playing professional sports, etc. I have two daughters, mashallah, who both play cricket. They play for county in England. And we saw the changes and the development in them as daughters as they grew older. And I used to do some charity work, used to come to Pakistan, and I felt that there wasn't enough being done in PE lessons at schools, especially for girls in Pakistan. And I was horrified to see that there was no cricket in schools, in girls' schools in Pakistan. There is some, but not to the level that I thought there would be, since it's such a commercial sport here. And so we decided to implement a sports curriculum, which is UK inspired, and bring it to girls' schools in Pakistan. And we've been doing taster sessions for the last year and a half in different parts of the country, specifically in Karachi for now, where we are trying to instill life skills through sport, so through cricket. We've got leadership qualities, leadership skills that we're trying to embed in these girls. We're also trying to make them into much more confident individuals. So it's, you know, it's basically using sport and cricket as a tool to make them into much stronger individuals, and that's what Fem Games is about. And we're not just going to stop in Pakistan, we're also doing this in the UK. There are South Asian communities in the UK which are, culture, you know, it's the same thing. The culture is the same. It's, we have the same issue of girls not wanting to come forward and play.
Social taboos and everything.
Absolutely, and that it's not for a girl. So we're trying to break those boundaries through Fem
Well,
Games.
it's a great topic. It takes me back to my school days, obviously. I was lucky enough to be schooled in Leicester. So I knew what PE was, getting my shoes out and going for those lessons, very excited. But we don't even have that culture. Talk about PE, nobody knows about that in Pakistan. Now, Lift Pakistan, how does that come into perspective when we talk about doing something for the society?
Well, Lift Pakistan is all about trying to encourage startups in Pakistan and SMEs and introduce them to the outside world. So businesses abroad all over the globe, no matter what they're doing, we're asking them to come to Pakistan, come to the Lift venues, meet startups, meet SMEs, try to engage with them, try to mentor them, and in most cases, try to invest in them. Now, we think Pakistan has got a huge opportunity, especially with a youth. A majority of the 60% of the population is under the age of 30, so we've got a youth. And these days, all the youth is on a mobile phone. So if they're on a mobile phone, they're on social media, they know how to use digital devices, and that is the future. So as far as technology is concerned, and my background is technology, we think there's a huge opportunity, and especially where Pakistan is placed to grow right now. So the Lift conference, today was our third day. So we had 2 days in Lahore. Today was our first day in Islamabad. Huge success. We've got overseas investors. We have mentors abroad. We've got university students. We've got SMEs. We've had ministers attend. Zulfi Bukhari was there this morning opening the event for us. And it's been streamed live all over the world with a huge following. And I think it's a very positive move for Pakistan.
And you're bridging the gap between all of these sectors, especially, do you think that with the fact that in the past couple of years we've had so many incubator programs going on through Pakistan, this further helps the cause of these young businesses?
Well, incubators is a slightly different thing. Obviously, they're very productive, but incubators, what it is for startups and trying to get them to the next level. So if it's an egg as an incubator, then it gets hatched, and then obviously you go and look for investment. What we are saying is, where do you look for the investment? Now, if it's an incubator, the investment normally remains in Pakistan. We're saying, why not engage with overseas Pakistanis? So we're sitting in the UK, for example, I'll give you me as an example. So I'm in the UK, I have a call center in Bulgaria already. I'm looking for a call center in Pakistan. Why not engage with the local call center, invest in them, grow their business, and at the same time, be part of it, and we've got the market already. So market the products abroad. Very, very simple model. So being British born, I've been obviously in the UK all my life. And likewise, there's people from all over the globe that have come here looking for opportunities. And I think this is going to be a start of a good journey ahead.
Definitely, inshallah.
Yes,
We do
inshallah.
hope so. Ma'am, healthcare, Bioclinica, where does this come from? What was the idea? And definitely, what is it now doing at present when we talk about it?
Sure. So I guess if I take you back at least 2 decades away, and I made a decision that I wanted to enter the field of science and specialize in that area. However, my journey as I progressed through acquiring new skills, learning from new mentors, it enabled me to actually adapt with the needs of the healthcare environment. So even though I started as a scientist, I quickly developed into a manager, into a strategist. I then started to learn more and more about business, and subsequently then evolved into leadership, and now sit round a boardroom and make decisions as a leader of a business. Now, the business model that I am following, I've worked in the pharmaceutical company for 10 years, and now I worked for the last decade in a service provider environment. And what that means is we look for low-cost countries in which we can invest, where I can take physicians, scientists, nurses, healthcare professionals who can collect data, process data, evaluate data, and submit data. Now, coming to Pakistan actually and being part of the Jumpstart initiative has it's opened my eyes wide up to just really understand how much talent there is in Pakistan. Now, I often work with countries which are in Latin America or indeed in India, you know, which are typically renowned for their high quality in delivery of these types of services. What pains me is that we haven't been able to lift off in this area in Pakistan, and I'm really looking forward actually to helping in that area.
And there's a lot of potential, isn't there?
It's huge potential. You know, nurses, doctors, scientists, dentists.
And it's a growing field. You keep on expanding, evolving it on daily basis as well.
Absolutely.
First question that comes into my mind when I think of Fem Games and your initiative, I've got a wonderful daughter at home as well. Now, she's just 2, but she's got a great future ahead of us, I'm sure. But now because coming from a sports background myself, I want her to get involved in sports. Now, as parents, the first thing that we feel is about a secure environment. That's what you talked about in your introduction to Fem Games as well. Now, to create that, you definitely need some role models which you can relate to, right? So, do you think it's important to develop these role models at local levels as well, so people can actually relate to them and then carry on their story when they want to go to the field?
Absolutely. I think it's important for every child to have a secure environment, whether they're male or female.
Yeah.
But when we come to the subcontinent, I think that there is an emphasis on girls getting a secure environment. And as parents, like you said, rightly said, that you would want to know that if your daughter is playing a sport or playing anything else, or music, for example, that she's in a secure environment. Hence why we've developed the program to be in schools, and we want it to become part of the curriculum, so that in their PE lesson, they have a structured PE lesson, there's a structured session, and that they actually, it's part of the traditional education, right? The role models, coming back to your question, Sana Mir.
Yeah, why not?
Sania Mirza, Serena Williams. Now, these are 3 huge, great ambassadors of sport, and we can see that each individual have broken barriers wherever they are, whichever part of the world they're from, and every woman can relate to them. I can certainly relate to Sania, I can certainly relate to Sana, and obviously Serena Williams, and she's coming back after having a baby, for example. But for children, for example, when our daughters are as young as 2, and we're thinking about a child, what do we want to do with them later? Are we going to push them into sport? As a supportive parent, I think you should push them into sport. School is the most secure environment. We need to push them to support our role models locally in our country. So Sana Mir, for example, why don't we take them to the matches that Sana is playing? I was very impressed to see that this year PCB, for example, have managed to push a huge crowd to come in and watch the Bangladesh versus Pakistan game. Now, this is the start. Do that. Take your daughters to these games.
I saw Ali Tareen with his daughter there in the matches, and I thought that was very inspirational.
He's amazing. Ali, if you're there, hello. He's a great advocate for girls in sport, and he supports Fem Games as well. He's one of those men that I would like to see come forward through their businesses to push girls in sport, and by bringing your own daughters. I mean, you've noticed him, you'd think of bringing your daughter, for example. I think we've moved forward from the last 10 years. I think we're doing really well. I think parents have opened up to the idea of taking daughters
the social barriers are no longer there.
Absolutely. I think that the social barriers have been broken from social media and from role models like Sana, speaking about things that they've broken barriers to, and it's fantastic to see.
We have to talk about the policies that the government makes at this point as well, because obviously it's a public-private partnership that needs to go on for any kind of business environment in the country. One thing that this government has particularly done, whether it comes to giving out scholarships, giving out business loans or any other things, they've fixed a larger percentage for women. 60% of those scholarships that the Prime Minister announced a couple of days ago are basically for the women, undergraduate female students, and then the 40% for the young boys. Same thing with the business loans that they are giving out under the title of Kamyab Jawan program. Do you think it's important to do that, to just lift them on the grassroots levels, just give them that amount of confidence and have that right amount of legislation that's needed for women to come into businesses and definitely get a name for themselves?
Well, being from a Western country, women are treated obviously equally as males. In Pakistan, obviously that hasn't been the case in the past. And I think if you do not empower women, or if women are not in the industry, then you're only using 50% of your population. Can you imagine that? I think the government, the incentive was very good. Women should be powered more. Okay, they should actually there should be an equal ground. I'll give you an example. I have a call center in Bulgaria. It's the other way around over there, I'm afraid. So we've got 40 staff in our Bulgaria call center, and literally 2/3 of them are women. And most of them have got 2 or 3 degrees. They speak minimum 8 to 10 different languages.
Qualified, yeah.
Right? They're qualified, they're leaders. Our country head is a woman. And they do a fantastic job. And obviously they're running their homes at the same time. So I think the government have caught on to something. They've realized that if this country is going to do better, then obviously we need to get those women out of their houses and obviously into leadership roles.
Definitely, and that does mean, like you mentioned as well, that giving them the confidence at the very first, because like Ebba mentions, that you've got to make the parents and the family feel that it's a secure environment, but developing their self-confidence is the real thing that counts over here.
Yes, and I'll give you another personal example. Is I have a school for special children, and it's in Dina, so in Jhelum, and we have around 15 women working for us. Now these women are from villages, so they were literally students, came out of universities or came out of colleges, were sitting at home doing nothing. So obviously their parents, they brought them to the school, they had a look, they thought, yes, safe environment. They allowed them to come to school, we got training for them, and now they are teachers teaching special children how to go about in society.
Is that your ancestral area?
Yes.
Yeah, my mom's from there. Sorry.
So it just gives you an example now. Yes, the mindset of, obviously you can imagine people in the village is even, it's not the city.
Even the confidence is...
But even for them, the confidence was there. They've sent their children, they've sent obviously the girls from their homes to colleges, and then they're sitting at home. But the fact is that when we found employment for them, and they've come and they've looked, now they're confident, now they're there. And I think that's, it's a start. It's a
Setting
start.
the trend, the precedent is now there.
Yeah.
Umar, when we talk about healthcare, I think that's what makes me say this out loud, that women are contributing more to the society, because as Asad mentioned as well, they're multitasking. You in healthcare are handling your primary field and then going back home and taking care of the kids and everything at the same time as well.
Yes.
And we've got probably so many examples of young, whether it's doctors, people from the pharmaceutical sector, or scientists, as you mentioned, taking both of these challenges at the same time. That's the real confidence that you see in women, that they don't shy away from loads of work, whether it's in the professional field or at home. And that balance that they're able to create probably makes us all proud.
Yeah, I mean, you raise a really good point here, because, again, let me start off on a personal level. I could not have achieved what I have today without a supportive family unit and a very supportive husband, one who is understanding, tolerant and aware. My parents wanted me not to waste my education and encouraged me, if I've set my sight on a goal, to achieve it, but exceed my own expectations. As one does, you evolve, you get married, and your priorities change. Yet my husband knew how important my career was, just as important as his career as a doctor was to him. And he supported me through that. As I continued to get promotions, I also had children. Masha and I've got 3 children.
MashaAllah. Yeah.
I've got a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, so they're very young children. Yet I am now in a relationship with my husband where we're fully aware we are equal partners. We both work, we both have very tough, stressful jobs, yet we both need to run the household. We both need to look after the children. And it's really that awareness and education that needs to be instilled as the norm. If one thinks about how individuals, dare I say it, in Pakistan will think that the man is the breadwinner, he'll go out and he'll work while the wife stays at home. And I know that's stereotypical, I know we've evolved in Lahore, but nonetheless, the wife or the female partner of that marriage has every right to go out, earn. And also, you know what, there are many situations where the wife is earning actually more than the husband. And is the key breadwinner. I think more so in the Western world, we're hearing how we have stay-at-home fathers, because we also know it's important to have a stable family unit, for your children. And you're right, it's complex. I mean, as a woman in a senior executive post, it's a challenge where I need to balance expectations of my boss, the board, my husband, and my children,
your kids, yeah.
you know? And so it's very difficult to switch off, but it's achievable. And it's achievable if you live in, you talked, Ebba, about a stable environment for children or a safe environment for children, but I think a stable environment in a relationship is just as important.
And that would promote that safer
Correct.
environment at,
Yeah.
at the end of the day as well.
Yeah.
Talking about both members of the family, you've been involved with a partner that's probably been away for many, most of the time. I'm sure all of you know, I didn't want to mention this, but she is the wife of the great Azhar Mahmood. You could not be, a greater fan of Azhar Mahmood than I am. You can just see my walls at my home and you'll find out why, right? So, because he had the entire focus on his career, he was focusing on something that required 110% dedication as well. So how have you seen him balancing both parts at this time?
I think that we both have been balancing. I was always a career-minded woman. I had a career behind me. I was actually, peaking in my career when I had met and got married to Azhar. And we both decided, I'm very lucky, just like Humaira, that I have found a very supportive husband who, despite spending most of his life in Pakistan and having, he had a very broad, supportive mindset as well. And he knew that I was working and that it wasn't going to, marriage should not stop me from working. In fact, he helped me evolve. And we decided that I would carry on with my work. And obviously, him being away did pose a lot of challenges for me. I have spent probably more of my time being a single mother than actually, having him at home. So what's he's doing right now at home, he's looking after the kids because he's at home for 15 days, and I've come over to Lift Pakistan and to carry on with my work. That's how it works for us, and that's how always it has worked for us. The other thing is, obviously, I have supported him in his career. So I've taken a break where I needed to so I can be with the kids, and he's then obviously transitioned from playing into coaching. So it's a give and take situation. I would encourage all fathers to educate their daughters and their sons, mothers and fathers, both of them, parents, to educate their children to become much more supportive in their relationships.
What Humaira mentioned brings me to another very important point, that if your female partner is earning more than you, or if she's successful in any field more than you, then the first problem that our men here in Pakistan need to get away from is that thinking that it's nothing to be ashamed of. That means that you're equally part of that structure where your wife's earning more. So that thinking needs to change.
Ahmad, it's our culture. It's a mindset that has been embedded in our culture for years, that the man has to be a little bit above the woman, whether it's financial, the superiority complex. And also there's a conflict of interest here as well. But what the issue is the insecurity that then develops in the man. So if they see another woman that is excelling in their career, or she's earning more than them, immediately it's like a shutdown. I need to put her down. I'm insecure. I need to be the superior one. But I think education has a lot to play with this. I think as the literacy rate is going up here, I think that men are becoming a lot more supportive and also encouraging of women to become, a lot more powerful, or empowering them. And I think that we will change. It will take us a few more years. But people like Asad, we need more people, more men to advocate for more women.
That's equally important, Asad, isn't it? Because when we talk about feminism or women empowerment, female education, it's not only their job to come out and actually raise a voice that we're here, we're doing this, we're the success stories. It's for the men, successful, you're going to see supportive husbands, supportive fathers, supportive sons as well, to come out and support all of this and support women at the same time and advocate for them as well. Because obviously without that balance and that advocacy, this won't be that successful how we want it to be.
Yeah, definitely. Look, if you have a partner that wants to pursue their career, I have a daughter and she just completed her master's, and she's got a wonderful job for Queen Mary City University, and she wants to pursue her career, and she's doing a wonderful job at it. Whereas I've got a wife that is happy to stay at home because she doesn't want to pursue it. So I think if you have a partner, and they want to pursue that, you should definitely encourage them, and you should definitely support them in every aspect. I definitely think we seem to forget that in some countries, for example, even in the UK, Theresa May, she was our Prime Minister. Margaret Thatcher was a Prime Minister. There's so many women leaders out there that have come in.
Angela Merkel, I've been seeing.
Angela Merkel, what prime example there. Look, you've got Germany's economy fingertips, and she's done a fantastic job. We should definitely not take this for granted.
Yeah, there's so many examples out there. Federica Mogherini is there as well. Like he mentioned, you've got the former British Prime Minister Theresa May, German Chancellor Angela Merkel's out there as well, and so many examples. That's why I talk about the important fact, and I'm so surprised and shocked where some segments of society claim that it's females taking over. They're not. They're actually helping you become better men as well at the same time. So you've got to understand this. Equally important, Ms. Umaira, to get them involved, especially in Pakistan now as well. We're seeing a larger amount of women in the government, in opposition parties as well, because political structure is another very important part of this, because I once again stress on that you need the right amount of legislation for this as well, especially in healthcare. Pakistan is turning around with all of their healthcare reforms right now with Dr. Zafar Mirza. I know the healthcare system he established in Iran when he was part of the WHO as well. So you've got a lot to do in terms of legislation right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we were having a discussion today on this very same topic. There is a lot, because what we need to do is actually learn from perhaps more established countries who haven't necessarily got it right first time round. So when I say learn, it's not just learn about what they did, but what they did that went wrong, so that we don't repeat those same mistakes when we want to implement legislation in a much more stronger format here. Once we've implemented our guidelines, principles, processes, only then can we cascade that message, that training, embed it within any curriculum, any modules, to then strengthen the workforce, be that male or female. But I mean, coming here, I said to these guys on the way here, it's been 7 years since I've come to Pakistan, and there's definitely been an evolution. Absolutely a positive change. And inshallah, I can see the healthcare system, going from strength to strength. I met someone from DRAP 2 or 3 days ago as well. What's important, though, that one needs to take into consideration is that it's not something that will just happen at the click of the fingers. It's a journey. And we need to take everyone's opinion. And my one thing that I have been saying to all the colleagues that I have met is we are here and learn from our experiences. We're not going to be right all the time, but we've definitely had a few more years in this area and taken the falls as well as the achievements as well. And I would rather, my fellow men in Pakistan have lesser falls than what we did. As we climbed up the ladder towards success.
Definitely. And we've got so many examples. Even if we turn towards the religious side as well, we had the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his wife Hazrat Khatija, who was a very successful businesswoman at that time. And, she's the one who supported him, and that's where the empowerment came from. And you've got countless examples. I think it's great to be part. You should be blessed to be part of a religion that advocates equal rights for women at the same time as well. Now, talking about Fem Games, and obviously time is a luxury we don't have. I'd like this to continue on forever. But what's the next part of it that you're aiming, especially in Pakistan, since you talk about it in Karachi right now, you talk about it spreading to all parts of the country, and definitely I'm sure it goes beyond that as well. What is the next phase that you're aiming for?
So we are hoping to spread across Punjab. We want to continue with our taster sessions that are happening ad hoc in different school parts, in different parts of the country, in different schools. We want to basically normalize. So we want to run a campaign where we normalize the fact that it's okay for girls to play a sport. Why is it okay to play a sport? Because we are, we are empowering them through sport. We're making them into more, like I said, more confident individuals, leadership. They don't have to become professionals at something. I mean, we'd like them to. But even if they go back home and they're running a village, remember, a woman is not just bringing up her own family, she's bringing up a community.
Yeah.
So if she has those confidence skills, those life skills that she, that you require to be able to bring up a community, then it's really important to engage in some kind of health and fitness sort of routine or regime. And that comes from your school, it comes from the PE session. So we would like to at least cover 100 schools across Pakistan in the next 5 years, God willing, inshallah. We'd like the government to support us more. We'd like brands to come forward and to own this as one of their CSR projects. Fem Games is not a charity, it's an initiative. So we can only self-fund this so much ourselves. But what we would like is people to take onus of it.
More partnerships.
More partnerships.
Yeah. So the way people can be part of this is definitely support your initiative as sponsors, as builders at the same time as well.
Absolutely.
But definitely, like you said, it is inclusive for everybody out there.
It's inclusive for everyone. We might even go to a co-ed school. So the sessions are so adaptable and diverse that we can actually have boys playing them as well.
Definitely. Lift Pakistan, Startup Pakistan at the same time. Next phase, expanding, evolving, what do you think is going to?
Well, at the moment we have got 8 verticals that we're focusing on, starting from technology, tourism, health, education, precision engineering, and creative industries, just like media and everything else. So next year we will be adding a lot more. I think if anybody has not visited the Pak China Center, I encourage them to come tomorrow, have a look around. It's amazing the amount of stalls we've got there, the startups and SMEs, a lot of interaction. As a matter of fact, I was quite amazed. We've got quite a few female entrepreneurs there as well, selling the products, and they are good products. So it's a huge opportunity, and it's an opportunity to meet investors and speakers. We've got a number of different workshops, and I think there's a workshop that Abbas is heading, women empowerment. So it's definitely one not to be missed.
That's going to be probably the one that has got the more crowd, I think. There's going to be a crowd puller workshop.
I hope so.
Yeah, we definitely do hope so. Healthcare, same time, bioclinic at the same time as well. We've got, I think, the percentage of women getting involved in healthcare in Pakistan is probably more than any other country, because generally women and their supporting family do feel that it's the most safest career for them, security-wise and the environment-wise. How would you like more women to be involved with this?
As I said before, I think it's really important. First off, I think it's important that we enter professions where we know our strengths are, and not because we feel there's peer pressure. It's safe to be a doctor or a nurse, a dentist or a physiotherapist if you're a female, because then you can open up a clinic and it doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah,
so I think it's really important, first off, to always play to your strengths. In terms of what more we can do, it's all about encouraging and educating and making folk aware of what you can do with those skills, which I think is more important. Because it's those skills which enable us to adapt to our environment. As I said to you, my journey was one where I started as a scientist and I've now progressed to a senior exec. And I've now acquired not as much knowledge as you, but perhaps significant knowledge in technology. For disruptive technology. So I think it's important to make sure that we enable individuals to actually see what could the potential career paths be. So if I do medicine, what else can I do? Does it mean I just stay in a clinic, or could I do something else?
And you're multi-talented always. You've got to find it.
Correct. You've just got to understand what skills do I acquire, and then how can I translate those skills
with tools,
into a profession that I will be happy with, and that I can continue with my career progression on. So I think from my perspective, it's just all about laying the foundation within Pakistan, inshallah, where we can set, individuals to aspire to a future where not only are they having a well-paid job, but they're happy. They're content with what they're doing.
Yeah, you'd like to add
I'd like to add that there is a very good research that's happened globally where sport plays a major role in women, for women in business. There was a longitude, I think it was the research that was called, and they did a research on female, females that are at C-level, managerial level, CEO level jobs, and 94% of the women at CEO level globally
came from sports.
Yes.
Came from sports.
Have played some form of sport
Yeah.
in their life.
Yeah.
You know, and if you follow these role models, you will see the discipline, the motivation, the leadership qualities they have.
And the confidence.
And the
at same time,
confidence.
yeah.
So I would encourage, you know, if you want your child to become good at their profession,
And a good leader.
absolutely,
Yeah.
do push them in sport. at
But
school.
you'd say that the culture is now changing because all over the world we're seeing female commentators. I'm especially really happy about that. We're seeing Isha, we've seen Zainab Abbas doing a great job in Pakistan and outside as well.
Yes.
So this is where the avenues open up.
We need to embrace these, you know, these amazing ladies that are doing amazing things. You know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, they're actually presenting Pakistan on a global stage, and in a very good way. So I think that sport will evolve you as a person. So, you know, started at a 2-year-old, put her now, her hand-eye coordination, that's what you need to do.
You should see her bowl
Oh,
right now.
right,
She's
send it to
bowling.
Azhar.
Azhar's got to have a look at that. But Ebba, Asad and Umaira, thank you very much. You've been really inspirational. I definitely pray and I say this, inshallah, all of you get successful already there. More in whatever you're doing. I sincerely see Nobel Prizes very soon for you guys, the way you're going as well, inshallah. But it's great. It's great listening to your stories. It's obviously great with the way you've come forward as well. And I think you inspire a lot of people, not only in Pakistan, but out there as well.
Thank you
so
for having
much
us.
for
Yeah,
your time.
thank you
That's
very
all
much.
we have time for this edition of Sports Extra. Of course, you can catch the repeat of this show as well. It's going to be there on social media as well. You can tweet, you can follow us on Facebook and our website as well, and you can tell us all your feedback. And obviously you've heard from these professionals as well, and now you know where you can catch them as well, especially the part that Asad was mentioning. You've still got another day tomorrow to go and visit Startup Pakistan and Lift Pakistan at the same time. Just see what is there for you as well and what other examples of inspiration you can see out there as well. From me and the entire team, until our next show, it's goodbye for now.